everybody, I'm Tom Vasel.
Zee Garcia, how are you?
Sam Healey, what's up, y'all?
Today, we are going back 10 years ago to 2006, which actually does it feel that long ago?
2006 was just a moment ago.
Well, the good thing about 2006, in a sense, was that we were all playing games at the time.
Yes.
I know we were because of one specific game, which I'm sure is on your list. So 2006, when I was making the list, I thought it was a decent year, a good year, but not any kind of phenomenal year. There were some good games. I was able to make a top 10 easily, but I didn't have like, oh, there's so many to pick from. No, I made the top 10. There are a few that missed it, and then that was that.
Right.
What about you?
No, I made my list very handily, and I do think it was a really good year. There's a lot of favorites for me from that year. So, no, it was nice looking back and seeing.
So you think it was a great year?
I think it was a really good year, yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I came up with about 14 games on my short list, and then I just had to cut out 3 or 4 of them for the list. So, and that was after going through about 500 games on the database. Yeah, that's meh.
Well, it depends how many. Sometimes I look at how many games I keep from a year, like from this year, the top 7 I have. No, I think 8, 9, and 10 are fine games. So just the top 7 are.
No, I have
All 10 of yours?
probably, yeah, definitely. I have at least 20 games from this year.
Wow. All right. It must have been a lot of small, obscure games.
I've got 7. I've got 7 from the list as well.
All right.
Cool.
Well, let's find out what they are.
Number 10.
All right, my number 10 is a game that, again, I don't really like its predecessor, the one that it was birthed out of, but that is...
Bad imagery here. Game like, oh, another little game comes out.
I know what game it is, too.
But the birthing game is Settlers of Catan, but the game birthed is Catan History's The Struggle for Rome.
Oh, never mind. I was thinking of something else.
This was...
Oh, the Struggles for Rome. I remember when this came out.
Yeah, it was a really neat game. One of the reasons why it made my list is because it took, in my opinion, the old busted Settlers of Catan and put a little nice veneer over it and made it interesting and fun once again. Then we got bored with it a little bit, and then we
Then lacquered it.
something else came out, but just rinse, repeat, dry. But the idea of Catan Histories is you're playing through certain periods of time, and I really enjoyed the Struggle for Rome. I liked that era of history, and it was a good game for me to kind of just sit through and play through. So again, it's pretty much just Settlers of Catan with a few other things thrown into it. But I still enjoyed it. So my number 10 is Catan Histories, The Struggle for Rome.
I like the Struggle for Rome, but I thought as time went by, it kind of got overshadowed by Germany and the other ones.
Yeah.
My number 10 is a party game that I believe Sam hates, and that is Gift Trap.
No.
I could tell Sam was going to hate it when I opened it up, and inside there are these little bags that look like they're wedding.
They're wedding favors. That's
They're
exactly what
adorable,
they are.
Sam.
They're
You
not
have no
adorable.
soul.
I do.
I like Gift Trap because I like the ideas that it does. Is you're putting out different gifts, and then you're trying to guess who likes what gift. And it's a good game in 2 situations. If there's an icebreaker and most people don't know each other,
Yes.
or if everyone knows each other pretty well.
Yes.
That middling ground is where you run into trouble.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is
If you know
where
some people
most
really
of
well
your
and some
plays
people are
going to
new,
happen.
then you like, here's your gift, and then you look at the 2 people you don't know and you go,
Exactly.
see what I've got left. You
That's
got
exactly-
a garden? No. I'm sorry if that offends you.
And the problem with, and also recently North Star came out with both Crappy Birthday and Happy Birthday, which kind of did the same thing in a very clean way. This game was a little bit clunky for a party game, but I still liked it a lot. I thought there was a lot of laughter, and I liked that there was 3 levels of gifts. The garbage gifts, the medium gifts, and then the super expensive
La-di-da.
gifts. Anyway, I thought it was pretty fun, and that is Gift Trap.
Very cool. Well, my number 10 is Gift Trap as well.
Really?
So
Woo!
we have already crossed over.
In your
Sam.
face!
Oh, Struggle for Rome. Oh, get out of
Better
here.
game
Actually,
than Gift Trap. Just
It's
saying.
probably higher on his list.
No, it is not. I guarantee you. I don't care if I'm spoiling the list. I guarantee you that is not on my list.
Anyway, yeah, my number 10 is Gift Trap for pretty much all the reasons that Tom just said. So that's that.
Number 9.
My number 9 is a abstract strategy game of sorts, and that is Take It to the Limit. This is from Burley Games. The same guys who made Kamisada and stuff. Take It to the Limit was a bigger version of Take It Easy, which came out several years prior to that. Take It to the Limit, basically one person draws a tile, and that tile shows some lines on it, straight up and down or diagonal, and then they call that out, and everyone grabs the same exact tile. And then you put it on this big hexagonal grid, and as the game goes by, you're trying to form lines all the same color. So everyone's playing the same game, but not really. I mean, technically, you could play this game with 1 million people. One guy went and read out a tile, and thousands of people are putting it down on their boards. But I like it. I found it interesting. It's fun to kind of do that. It's mathy, of course, trying to pull out the right combinations. I thought it was interesting.
There's a cool iOS app for this game that I've played and have
Where basically you just randomly get it and you put them in. It's like solo almost.
Yeah, it works. It works. It's really fun.
It kind of is a solo game, and you're just playing at the same time as other people.
Sam adores it.
Wow.
So far, a real good year for Sam.
Loving that.
No, but I did enjoy this game. I mean, the box is a little too big for what it is, and it is solitaire-ish, which is why it's no longer my collection, but I still found it very enjoyable.
Cool.
Take It to the Limit. Is that your number 9?
It is not my number 9. I've not played the physical game. I've only played that iOS one. My number 9 is a game that I'm sure is going to be higher on someone's list, possibly both lists. And this is Shogun. Shogun is the famed cube tower game in which you are controlling areas of Japan, feudal Japan. You know, you're controlling spaces with armies, gathering the goods from the land. Basically, you're trying to have the most territory. And it's a really good game. It's a big game. I don't get it to the table very often because it is it's sort of somewhere between an epic Euro-style game and some combat American-style game. And it was one of the earlier games that I think did a really nice job of being a hybrid, really, of the two. Solid game. Again, don't get it to the table very often, but I'm very happy I still own it. That is Shogun, my number 9.
My number 9 is a game that came out, and it's one of the first that I remember games that came out with painted miniatures. And this was called Marvel Heroes. There's a lot of things wrapped around this game that people just thought it was too long, and I think that's probably one of the things that was the biggest detractor from it catching some steam and moving forward. But it just kind of petered out over the years, and I always enjoyed playing the game. You basically have your team of heroes, and you're in Manhattan, and you're going out and you're stopping all of these different uprisings that are happening, and you get points, certain number of points for all of those things. And I thought it was a really good way to show a team working together, a comic book hero team working together, and quelling all of these different things that are happening throughout Manhattan, New York. I think it was mainly just Manhattan and the different boroughs within Manhattan. I think that's what it was. But it's been a long time since I played the game because my son got a hold of the miniatures and wreaked havoc. As a matter of fact, I just saw the Human Torch on the floor of the bathroom this morning. And it was without the base.
He's been drinking.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but
that torch.
Those miniatures have now become my son's toys. So I'm not able to play the game anymore. But I did seriously enjoy the movie, the game. Why do I do that?
I don't
know.
I don't know what to tell you.
Freudians. I don't know.
No, it's not Freudian.
I don't know what it is.
It's a cinematic slip.
Cinematic slip. I don't know.
You found a torch in the bathroom floor.
Yes, that was rather traumatic. It's traumatic.
What were you doing all night?
I had to call 911.
This was actually in my top 10 in 2006.
Gotcha.
It's kind of petered out because I think I liked the idea of the game.
Yeah.
More than the game was long.
Yes, it was.
It could have probably been the same thing but shorter, but I think these guys were coming fresh off their War of the Ring success, and they were like, let's make the superhero version. I think maybe shortening it down, and maybe we'll see that someday.
Yeah,
although the license,
Number 8.
My number 8 is a smallish game from Istari Games, and this is Mycarinos or Micarinos or however you yourself happen to pronounce
Just missed my list.
Yeah, and this is one of my favorites really from that company because it's an area control game that does its thing in a very clean and straightforward way. You control plots of land, sand, I guess, where you're going to be digging with your, what are they, archaeologists, thank you. And then you take whatever stuff you found and take it to the museum. That's it. It's like a 1-2 step process. Score points. It works very easily. But I like that the jostling for position is neat and it is interesting. It's a little bit cutthroat. And then that there's some special characters that you can, grab from those land tiles and employ them to give you some special powers. So it's just a clean, straightforward area control game that even today I'll bring out and I can still set it up quickly. I can enjoy it. The game's about 40 minutes. It just works really well. It's one that I really like, especially as an area control game. So my number 8 is Mycarinos.
This is one of those moments I remember in gaming is the first time I brought that to the table. I remember playing it with Sam, and Sam was very determined that he wasn't going to like it, and I could see him grudgingly like it. I remember that moment. You were like, this isn't going to be very good. And it was. And I was also kind of thinking, and then I was surprised how short. It's like one of the heaviest short games I've ever played.
Right, sure.
Maybe
It's just not very thematic.
I just haven't played it in a long time.
Probably in 10 years. All right, what's your turn?
All right, my number 8 is from a series of games, and it is the Combat Commander series, and it is specifically Combat Commander Europe. It's probably my favorite theater from the World War II
It was the first
era.
one, I believe.
Yes, and it's my favorite. It's the one I enjoy the most. So it's about as far as I will go into that cardboard chit war style war game style of games.
Well, it's pretty far. I mean, the next step is ASL.
Well, the next step is ASLSK, and then you go.
You guys are just saying letters to me at this point.
Advanced Squad Leader.
Squad Leader Starter Kit.
Squad Leader Starter Kit.
Starter Kit.
ASLAK.
And
SM22C, my favorite of the MWM games.
that's actually a rule. That's a address for one of the rules in the book.
Mm-hmm.
SM234C paragraph F.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, and that's one of the reasons why this is about as deep as it will go. I will go into that because I just don't have the time for the rule books. But I do enjoy that style of game where it is combative, but it is also tactical, strategical, and I enjoy a lot of it. The paper maps are what really don't pull it over for me. I wish, but the way the game is, it has to be paper maps because they come up with so many different map collections. So Combat Commander Europe is a game that I've enjoyed over the years, and it's just that's the limit. And because it's the limit, it doesn't get played as often as it probably should, but I still do enjoy to pull it out every once in a while.
One thing I thought was pretty cool about the system was it had a pretty neat setup of random events that could happen.
Correct.
I mean, they wouldn't happen very often, but like, there's something happened over here, and it'd be kind of very descriptive of what happened. Mm-hmm. My number 8 is a game that I am 100% sure is not on Zee's list because it is too long.
Oh, it's like that.
Yes, it is. And that is Warrior Knights. Now, this is the
never played
redone
it.
version of Warrior Knights. The original one came out but this is one of those Fantasy Flight ones where the new game was almost couldn't recognize the old one.
Right.
This is essentially the closest that we've seen so far to Fantasy Twilight Imperium.
Yeah.
It was a big game. There's not as much fighting it as you might think. There's a lot more politics. You can send your guys off on, go out and find quests, go to the east and bring back stuff. A little bit of Euro gaming in it, but a lot of politics, a lot of religion. Once you added in the expansion, there was also technology. I just really enjoyed the whole experience. Now, it's lower on my list because, it's long. It's hard to find anybody to play this with. And, the components, that was in one of those Ticket to Ride boxes, so there's only limitations on what they could do. But experience-wise, I've had some really great times playing it. Mm-hmm. It's been a while.
Still sitting on my shelf.
I remember, one of the last games we played like a full 6-player game of it, and that was
in Korea too.
Yeah, it was. But I do enjoy it, so it had to make my list. Warrior Knights.
Number 7.
My number 7 is a game that came out from Days of Wonder, who is a company that I've always thought puts out great-looking games and definitely amazing productions and typically good games. And this is one that I think does both of those things well, especially the production quality very well. The game is Cleopatra and the Society of Architects, and it feels a little bit, the gameplay itself, like it's got a little bit of a vibe of a Settlers of Catan thing going on, where you're collecting goods and then trading those goods to build her palace. But the game's look is unbelievable. You literally will build a 3D castle while you play and put out obelisks and statues and take the bottom of the box and flip it over, and it becomes like the entrance to her castle. And it's a gorgeous game. I really like it with 3 players. I think with more players it's a little slow. It takes a long time for your turn to come around. But I really enjoy it, and it's one of those games that if I have 3 players and some time, jumps to the top of the list in my head, because I really enjoy it at that number. Cleopatra and the Society of Architects, an awesome, gorgeous-looking game for me.
This was on my short list. It is essentially a box of toys. This was Days of Wonder when they were like, what? Yeah. Hey, let's beat the Fragger Brothers. To make this big, beautiful thing. The gameplay I thought was decent, and it's the first game I think I played where there was a way that someone could lose by basically taking too much corruption. You lost. Didn't matter how well you were doing.
That's right. Yeah.
So several games have done that since, but I've always liked that. My number 7. Okay, I already made the list when I figured out that this may actually be a 2005 game. It came out in 2005 in Europe, but in 2006 it came out in America, and that's Ink and Gold. But BGG listed as 2005, and even though we ignore their listings for a lot of other things,
I saw it listed as 2006. Yeah,
it is, but it technically came out the year before as Mike Arena. Not Mike Arenas.
As Diamant.
Diamant.
Right.
So anyway, whatever. I'm picking Ink and Gold. Simple, short, 7 people or 8 people. I mean, technically, I played this game before with even bigger groups of people. You just have to find some jewels or something to split up between everybody.
Right.
You can play with big teams. This is a great game like for a classroom. If you're 20 people, split them into groups of 3 each, and they all decide, do I go in farther or do I run? That's it. That's the whole thing of the game. But it's that whole push your luck aspect to a very fun, entertaining aspect. Just a lot of fun. Ink and Gold.
Cool.
My number 7 is a game that Tom does not like very much at all. As a matter of fact, he despises it almost. Every time I mention it, he's always wagging his head and rolling his eyes. But it's a game that I really enjoy, and it's very much like Ticket to Ride.
Look at him now while you say it.
And that is Turn and Taxis.
Once again, I like to point out that this year was not so great. If this is the game that won the Spiel des Jahres, yeah, come on now.
Exactly. It won the Spiel des Jahres.
However, I will say this.
There you have it.
On the Dice Tower audio show, we asked people what their favorite game was, and this was the game that won the Spiel des Jahres, and not one person picked it. No one. I said, well...
game from this year, you mean?
No one picked it. I said, well, Sam will cover for you later on, and you are.
I am.
Still not worth your time, folks.
It is.
Roll your eyes already.
I'm not a monkey.
It's a game that's based around the German postal system. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's like, who wants to play a game about the German postal system? Ooh. But it's actually not bad. It's fun, and it has some expansions that really twist the game a little bit and make it a different experience than the base set. All Roads Lead to Rome, and I can't remember the name of the other one. I have both of them.
Turn and Taxis, the boring.
The boring. Wow. Did you spend all night thinking about that one?
Or maybe.
No, it's All Roads Lead to Rome is one. And
Glory and Power, maybe, or something
Glory
like that.
and Power, Power and Glory, or something like that. Anyway, it was a fun base game. I got my copy off of him because he didn't like it, so I really enjoyed it. So I took it, and then I got the expansions on my own.
Which I then played with Sam because he insisted they made the game better.
And they do.
But they did.
They do.
But when you're starting that low, it's hard to...
Wow, listen to that guy.
Man.
Anyway, my number 7 is Turn and Taxis. A good game. If you can get your hands on it, well worth your time. Don't listen to this.
Now, look, I would actually have kept calm there, but he kind of told me to go after him, didn't he?
I'll back Sam up. I'm somewhere between both of you. I like the game.
Yeah.
It did not make my list.
Right.
But I do enjoy it. I have a copy of it, and I think it's the type of Euro game that tends to be my favorite. That mid-weight Euro game with very simple choices.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Spiel des Jahres. I will mention that game later on.
Number 6.
My number 6, I did play in 2006. I don't think I played it till like 3 years later, and that is On the Underground. This is a game which I don't know, it doesn't look like much when you see it.
Nope.
Looks like a boring little game, but have you played it?
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't like it?
I'm waiting for you to finish.
On the Underground is a game in which players control subway lines, and there's one passenger, and you are trying to move that passenger to different destinations on the map, or you're not trying to, you do, but you want him to take your lines. This guy's super lazy. He will take the long way around as long as he doesn't have to walk. So if you build the subway lines up, he will go all the way over here, just so he doesn't have to walk 2 blocks. So it's kind of a logical game as you're trying to like set it up so that he has to take your routes and you get points in different ways. The game is too long with 4 or more players. You should play it with 3 or 2, and also with 2 or 3 you also control multiple of the subway routes. I just find it fascinating. I wish that it had taken more traction because I would have liked to see like expansions that went to different subway maps. The map is of London, which is fine, but I would have loved to have seen maybe, Washington, D.C. or Seoul or, just different countries around the world. But I like it a lot. So you don't?
No, I thought it was too,
Thinky?
No, not thinky. I like the concept. I just found it to be maybe too dry, maybe illogical. The game is like a puzzle in that theme where you have this one passenger who, as you said, takes the long way around for no reason. It's an illogical game.
You mean
from that point of view?
Unintuitive.
It's not. It's definitely not intuitive, but it also
Right.
doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, it does. The guy doesn't want to walk. He'll take the shortest route, but if there's nowhere, he doesn't want to switch trains.
Right.
So if there's the longest, he'll if he can only go on one train, he'll do it.
It's the exact opposite of what you would normally be trying to do in a subway system.
Right, which is not intuitive. Right. And I don't like the whole, like you said, if it's too many players, it's too long. If it's not enough players, then you have to do multiple colors, which I don't like. So it just didn't gel for me. It didn't work for me.
All right.
All right, my number, 6? My number 6 has already been mentioned by Zee.
Bam.
And the thing that made it... No, it's not Gift Trap. I already said that. One of the main reasons it made my list is because it is one of the first games that I remember playing, and I really enjoyed playing it. But what brought it to my memory was the fact that you used the box to build the game.
Yeah, baby.
Cleopatra and the Society of Architects. And it is first of all, it's an eye catcher. People walk by and they stop. They don't care if they're interested in the game per se. They're looking at the pieces. They're looking at the picturesque nature of the game. But on top of all of that, there's a pretty good game in there too. So I knew it was going to make my list. All the reasons that you talked about. And that is Cleopatra and the Society of Architects.
Boys and their toys.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. My number 6 is the game that should have won the Spiel des Jahres, and this is Blue Moon City.
Certainly better.
Blue Moon City is a follow-up to Blue Moon, which was just a card game. This game really has nothing to do with that game, except thematically. And in this one, you are building these tiles that make up a city. It's like a 3x3 or 4x4. I forget exactly how big all the tile configuration is.
I think it's 5x5 actually.
Is it 5x5? Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Because there's one in the middle, and that happens in the 25.
That's right. Yeah, there's the one place where you start in the middle and you go back there to... But I like the flow of the game is very interesting because you're basically grabbing cards and then building these places, but you want to be the one that controls it once completely built. And so there's that interesting like pseudo cooperation thing that some games have where you're not really helping each other, but that's almost done. I guess if I jump in there and finish it, I'll get a little something for basically very little trouble. Mm-hmm. And so you have that sort of thing happen where someone shows up at a building and builds, and they put a few cubes out there, and then you show up and you're like, boom, here's the last one. Give me some stuff.
And Fire and Axe.
What's that?
It's like Fire and Axe.
It's like Fire and Axe, exactly
thing,
right.
Yeah.
It's the same idea. Very cool game, colorful, good looking. nice play length. It just really works for me. It's one of my favorite Euro games.
Do you still own this?
Oh yeah, very much so, yeah.
Because it's on the pile that I'm about to bring downstairs.
Oh, really? Yeah, the one thing I never was able to get because it was super difficult to get is they made some promo tiles for it. And there was like 2 of them in like a calendar and 2 of them in like a magazine.
I got your hookup.
Do you?
No.
No, you don't. Those are super rare. And that's the one thing I was never able to get my hands on, but I really, really like the game. Blue Moon City, my number 6. It's all super good from here on out.
Number 5.
My number 5 is the game that's opened up the worker placement genre for me. And I would imagine it's going to be on their 2 lists as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely not on mine.
You liar.
I don't know what game you're talking about.
It's called Pillars of the Earth.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Heard of it.
You did not. You did not. You guys are saying.
Have you read the book? Have you seen the movie?
Liars. No, I haven't. Not either
The
of
book was better than the game.
It was a TV show also. It wasn't a movie.
Yeah,
The book was better.
But anyway, like I said earlier, it all opened up the worker placement genre for me. I enjoyed. It's tedious, I guess you could say. Not tedious. It's not the right word. It's small, infantile actually. But building the little actual cathedral in the middle of the board.
You hate that, right?
He hates it.
Which is so dumb because it's cool.
I think it's actually pretty cool.
It's just like goofy. It's like, hey, here's the most ridiculous turn marker ever designed.
How is that? I don't understand. That's a bad thing, though.
That's not ridiculous.
It is kind of.
The game is about building a cathedral.
Big, huge cardboard cutout gun in that one game. That's ridiculous. This is actually cool.
Caesar and Cleopatra.
Thing.
You're putting out this big obelisk, boom, instead of a tile.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
I just think it's weird that it just.
I thought
They
it
give
was
you like a whole ton of wood that all it does is like mark the passage of time.
Again, Caesar and Cleopatra.
No, you're marking that something's built already, though. You know. It's not the same. It's not
pretty close to the same.
Oh.
But anyway, I just really enjoyed the game itself. Sending your workers out to collect these resources, using those resources to buy. I know this sounds elementary now, but this is back when that was kind of starting out. And that's what I enjoyed about it. I also loved the board. It's one of the first boards that I noticed that had those little Easter eggs of people actually doing things on the board. And it was just a really beautiful board. Just a thematic experience for a Euro game. And just really enjoyed it. Usually it makes any list that I can put it on. Because it's that good of a game. And that's Pillars of the Earth.
Well, I hate that cathedral enough where it's not on my list.
I doubt it.
My number 5 is Pillars of the Earth. And for all the same reasons Sam just said, it's a great game. It's still one of my favorite worker placement games, really. And I have not read the book, but I think it's pretty cool how it seems very thematic. It seems like they tied it into the book really well with the characters on the cards and the way you can, the different actions and everything. Yeah. So I appreciate it, and I can see that it's something that the designers put a lot of thought into, how things work out. And then the mechanisms on top of that are really clever, too. And the one, like the second half of each round where you are, pulling a worker from a bag, the color is random. But the earlier your worker comes out, the more you have to pay, or not, or you can pass, Yeah. That's clever, and that's still fresh today, I think.
Right. No one's really stolen that idea.
Right. So I really enjoy it. Pillars of the Earth, awesome game. That's my number 5.
My number 5 is, and I'm in 100% agreement with Zee here.
Pillars of the Earth?
No, it's actually Blue Moon City, which I think should have won the Spiel's Yard. In fact, I think this is one of the most egregious oversights, to the point where I think later on, when Lost City, the board game, won, I think they were like, sorry, Knizia, you should have won earlier. Here's your award. I still think there was some of that going on.
Wow.
But Blue Moon City, I didn't want to play it first because I'm like Zee, hate it, Blue Moon. But like Zee, I agree, they're nothing the same. The only thing the same is their factions and the art. But the city itself is beautiful. The idea is pretty cool. I love how you have a handful of cards and you got to figure out how to use them. Okay, I can use this card to move here. And then these cards to build this. I can use these cards as a wild, and this card moves the dragons there. And the theme is kind of just there. You know, it's waving at the game. But it's just so interesting. I just played this again this year and really had a blast playing it, teaching some new people, and I was like, oh, that's a cool game. Yeah, I know. I like it a lot. Blue Moon City.
Nice.
Cool.
Number 4.
All right, my number 4 is a game that I believe has already been mentioned. I think it's already been mentioned by Z.
Yeah.
Gift trap.
Remember, you stop it.
I only have one joke, and then I have to keep using the same thing.
Yes, you do.
All right.
But I don't know. I can't remember. I'm having a brain.
Just say the name of the game. We'll tell you.
It is a Japanese-style game. You said this already, right?
Yes. That's my number 9.
It's a Japanese-themed game, and it is wrapped around the game that was called Wallenstein.
Wait, this is number 4?
Was made better than. I was really excited that you picked Shogun to play during the 24-hour marathon, and then you decidedly didn't play it.
Well, first of all, we didn't play like 10 games on that list. And
I know,
secondly,
but you didn't play that one.
At that time at night, it was pretty tiring. That's not a game to play when you're tired. By the way, this didn't make my list. I like Shogun a lot. I think it's a fine game. It's just that I consider it pretty similar to Wallenstein. No. Not that I like Wallenstein better, but I mean, whatever. I play one or the other. I'm just saying that I like Wallenstein. Since it's so close, I didn't pick it. I didn't feel like it added one minor change.
Oh, one minor change.
Besides that,
it was so minor that they
went back and retrofitted
the other one
to the other one,
to make it. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not saying it wasn't a good minor change, but it was a minor change.
It was a good minor change.
I just said that.
Yeah, you
Say it
did.
again, Sam. Say it again.
It was a good minor change.
With that voice, it makes more sense.
That's right.
Anyhow,
anyway,
I'm not arguing with you on this
Shogun,
game. I'm just surprised it's not number 1, actually.
Some people actually don't like Shogun because they think that there are places on the map that one can turtle, and I've never really understood their argument because you can do that in Wallenstein too. So anyway, I enjoy the map a lot
I'll
better.
get out some paper and show it to you sometime. It's pretty obvious. If a map is long, you can turtle in an end. If a map is big and round, it's harder to turtle.
Yeah, but when you got people that are right next to you anyway, it doesn't matter where you are on the map, you can't turtle if there's
But
some
in a
people
round
right
map, you can make it's harder to find an area to hole up in. Come on now, that's obvious. It's not like I'm arguing.
I specifically
fact.
remember playing Wallenstein games where people did exactly that. They would hole up in a corner of the map.
Yeah, but you can't win by doing that.
They still did it.
All right,
You
whatever.
can't win by turtling in Shogun
I'm
either.
just saying I like Wallenstein map a little better. That's all I've ever said.
You go back and watch those videos. He's given both of us a lot of hate for liking this game over Wallenstein. Anyway, Shogun is my number 4 because I'll enjoy it better than Wallenstein.
I'm still waiting for the card game version of this. Where you're playing cards, and then when you have a fight, you gather up all your cards and throw them in the card tower.
Come on, let's do it. Make a card tower. And my number 4 was just reprinted in 2015, and that is Through the Ages. Through the Ages is a civilization game. I actually prefer to play it with 2 players, just because the game is pretty long. When 2 players, it's a much faster experience. And there's a lot of little tracking beads and things all over it. But it took the Sid Meier's Civilization computer game, which I love so very much, and brought it to a board game. It really did. It also is the game that put Vlad on the map. Right. People are like, what? Who's this guy? And ever since that, 2006 was the year people noticed him, and he's kind of risen since to be one of the most popular game designers. This was a solid game. The early production copies were, well, kind of pathetic. But I've heard good things about the latest reprint. Have not played it yet, but I'm anxious to. That's Through the Ages. I feel pretty confident I'm the only person with that on my list.
Yes!
Well, it's way too long for you, and it's probably a little too fiddly for you.
Yes, it is.
Okay, there's not enough attacking in it for you.
I would much rather play Roll Through the Ages.
And I would much rather play Yahtzee.
Roll Through the Ages.
Or Yahtzee. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. What's your number 4?
All right, my number 4 is a party game, actually, which has been reprinted many times under several different names. My version of it is called Pow Wow. I believe Tom has a version called Coyote.
Yeah.
And, well, there's a few different ones. And this was one that kind of came out of nowhere for me. I just took a chance on this game. And it turned out to be an amazing party experience, which I've had requested dozens of times. I it always, when it comes out, it makes for a fun, party atmosphere. And it's basically like, what do you call that, poker? Liar's poker, I guess is what you call that, with the card on your forehead. Yeah. I forget what that's called.
I've never played. I don't know what that's called. I know what you're talking about.
Right. And it's just you shuffle these cards up, you stick one on your forehead so you see everybody else's but yours, and then you play kind of like Liar's Dice, where you have all the other information except your own, so you have to kind of figure out what's in your forehead. Or bluff. Very simple game, but I could not put it this high up on my list because I could not put it this high up on my list.
That's good English right there.
Yeah. Because it's always gone over well for me, and it is a staple in my collection for sure, no question about it. My number 4, Powwow.
Number 3.
My number 3, which apparently I like better than both of these guys, but just slightly, and is Pillars of the Earth. Not a lot to really reiterate here. They both said the things. I really like the worker placement. I will say that it's a lot of times we talk about this and people are like, why aren't they reprinting it? I feel pretty confident it's the IP.
Yeah.
Right.
They probably paid a lot of money to the author of the book and such. I'm hoping that the designers of the game will publish it at some point with maybe a different theme.
It seems like it would be easy to do.
Yeah, it could. I mean, it could be like pretty much the same idea, building something and then building towards that point. And maybe that will happen someday because the game, people say, well, this is one of those games that violates Vasel's law. It's not in print. It was printed 10 years ago, and I think it was in print for 2 years, and it was gone. And it's hard to find. But if you ever do find a copy of it, I recommend you pick it up. Like Z says, or Sam mentioned, it was one of the first worker placements, but it still holds its own even amongst the games that come out today.
Yeah.
So Pillars of the Earth, my number 3.
Cool.
All right, my number 3 is a game that I know Tom does not like. It is a 2-player game, one of my favorite 2-player games really ever. This is Mr. Jack, the original. And in it, someone is playing Jack the Ripper. The other player is trying to catch that character. And
I just don't want to play Jack the Ripper. That's morally...
Play the other side?
Morally...
Try to catch. And I really enjoy that both sides are very asymmetrical. The gameplay itself, I remember when I first read about this game, I couldn't, from a description, figure it out in my head. I was like, how does this game work? How can you have a deduction game for 2 players that both players doing something different? I just didn't get it. You know what I mean? And I think it's a brilliant piece of design, really. And it works beautifully. It's nice to be able to play both sides. To play very differently. It just works for me. I really like it. Mr. Jack is my number 3.
It's a very popular game, too. They made the second and the third, then they made a Phantom of the Opera version. They made a card game, which was awful, in my opinion.
The little one?
I'm not a
Jack
big fan
Pocket?
of the Mr. Jack, but I thought Mr. Jack Pocket was awful.
I like that one, actually. No, I've liked the whole series, really.
But, yes, it's certainly
This was the first one, and this is the one that really introduced the
This is one of those games that's
the meat
still
and
in
potatoes
print.
for all the
You
other
can still
ones.
get Mr. Jack.
Yeah.
All right, my number 3 is a game that's already been mentioned by Tom, and I don't really care if Diamant came out first. Ink and Gold is solid. It's a staple for my list in this year. I can't tell you how many times I played this game over the years with my family, with youth group, with a number of different situations. I actually have a hybrid of the 2 games because I take I take the treasure chest from Diamant.
The Diamant components are like,
Yeah, exactly. And I also like having, instead of the cards, just having the dude in your hand.
The worst thing about Ink and Gold is every game I've ever taught someone new. It's like, this card means you're leaving, this card means you're coming, and they're like,
always make the mistake.
But I mean, they're not that obvious, actually. One shows the guy looking back towards camp. That means you're leaving.
Right.
The other shows the guy with
Looking
the torch or whatever.
and going forward.
They could have made it a lot more
They
obvious.
had like a symbol in the corners.
Something.
A little easier.
I'm telling you, man, Diamant fix it. You just, do you have
Yeah,
it
you have
in
the
your
meeple or
hand,
not.
or do you not? That's what it is. If you have it, you're going forward. If you're not, you went back.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why I took the hybrid, because those cards, not only are the cards kind of nondescript, they also get torn up really easy.
Oh, yeah.
And they're black bordered, which makes them even worse.
Yeah.
So, but Ink and Gold, I've used this game to great value throughout the years, so I knew it was going to be on my list. My number 3, Ink and Gold.
Number 2.
All right, my number 2 is one of Sam's favorite games, probably of all time, really. This is Factory Fun.
I was trying to think what you were talking about.
Factory Fun is very much a puzzle game with a slight real-time aspect to it.
Slight.
At the beginning of each turn, there's some real-time aspect, but then after you've grabbed the thing you think you won, then you get to take some time and figure out how you want to add it to your own personal
Well, to be
board.
fair, at that point it may be too late.
That's true. That's true. The game is extremely original, I think. The game is very unique. It works very well. It's very colorful. I never played the original printing of this, but I've played the Z-Man printing of it, and they did a really nice job upgrading the original. I've seen pictures, and I think I like the look of the reprint much better. And I don't know. I know that it's a niche game. It's kind of like an acquired taste, but this is exactly the game for me. And I've played it a lot, and I still enjoy it every time it comes out.
I like it.
So my number 2, Factory Fun, nice puzzly game. And you can play solitaire too, which I don't do.
I will say I don't like
play
playing
solitaire?
I think so.
I don't like playing
I didn't know that.
I don't like playing Factory Fun against someone who's really good at it though. That's not fun.
Boom!
Because they grab a tile. I'm like,
Exactly. That's a huge flaw in the game.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's a lot of games where the better
Deal with
person
that.
beats the.
I understand that, but
I'll
this
play
is
slower
like
for you, Sam.
over. I'm not going to play the games. Either.
I think Sam and I are going to match up on number 2.
No, you're not.
Oh, okay.
No.
Then that would mean my number
You're
2
right.
is Sam's 1? All right, well, let's
That
find
might
out.
be. You probably know what my number 1 is.
Actually, I don't. Well, let's find out. Let's find out.
Yeah. Anyway, my number 2. Z and I played this on the app version on the plane.
Oh, duh.
Plane a little while ago, and I think this is probably going to be. your
Oh,
number
that's
1.
right. I know what Z's number 1 is now.
And
That's why this year is your favorite year.
but we played this on the game, and that was a reminder of how much I enjoyed the game. It's also a reminder of how bad at the game I am because this guy handed it to me.
Or how good I am.
No, I'm very bad at this game.
Oh.
You're just kind of
You get
You're not good. I'm just bad.
Exactly.
You get no
That's
credit
exactly what
there.
it is.
I get no respect.
But Neuroshima Hex is a really cool game that is set in a post-apocalyptic world where factions are battling each other and just trying. I don't really even know the backstory. I think they're just trying to take each other out for one reason or another. But anyway, you set your piece and it does what it does in a certain direction, or maybe 2 different directions. And at some times you have cards that you can rotate and all this other kind of stuff. And then once everybody has played their tiles out and somebody plays a battle thing, then everything fires off and you have to take things off the board and then you start over again until you're out of tiles to play down. Until your base is destroyed.
Or you're out of time.
Yeah, or you're out of tiles. So the idea is very simple, and it's a very fun game. The app is really good.
It's one of the few times where I think the app is superior to the game.
Oh yeah,
Because it
because
takes away all the figuring
it
out.
takes everything. It does everything for you. Yeah, but I've really enjoyed the game over the years. I don't have a physical copy, but I seem to have always had since it came out. I've always had that app on one of my devices in the house. So really a good game, Neuroshima Hex.
All right, my number 2. This year, they released my favorite maps for Ticket to Ride. That's the UK and Pennsylvania. But until those maps were released, my favorite was Ticket to Ride Markland by a mile. I like the passenger aspect of Markland a lot. But as I said, even without the passengers, Germany's a pretty good map. So good that they actually re-released it as its own game without the passengers. But if it was just Germany, I would be like, it was a good map. But with those passengers, it added a level to Ticket to Ride that I really enjoy. I think this is not one of your favorite maps, actually.
No, I didn't like the. I don't mind the map. I just don't like the
You don't like the
passenger mechanism.
See, I love that.
I would get the Deutschland one, which they have just in Germany.
I love the whole push your luck aspect to it. Like, I want to move this passenger, but if I move him now, I'm going to get just a couple cities worth of points. But they're the high point values. I want to wait till I can get the high point values in a bunch of cities. Then someone else moves a passenger, and they get, and it's like,
Right.
So you're sitting there watching people. They draw a passenger, and you're like, And I love that. It adds a layer to Ticket to Ride that wasn't there
I
before.
just find it fiddly. I like the idea. I just think it makes the game really fiddly. All the little stacks of tokens.
That's the thing. I don't think it's the mechanism that's fiddly. It's how they implemented it
Right.
on that map.
Is Markland on the iOS version?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know either.
I would play it online or on the iOS. Yeah, no problem.
I don't mind that fiddliness that much. My only fear is when those little tokens, I'm always like, can't lose one of them.
Can't lose one of
Can't
them.
lose one of those
I also
tokens.
don't like the look of the game. I don't like that they broke canon, for lack of a better term, with the look of all the other games.
100%
Cannon?
disagree with Z on this one. The Markland trains, the fact that they're all different on the cards, that's awesome.
I don't like that it's
That's
realistic.
my favorite deck by a mile.
No, I like the look of all the other Ticket to Rides, and they all look like they're part of one family, and then there's Markland.
I don't have to play them at the same
I'm just
time.
saying, it's just my
Called
own
the deluxe
thing.
edition. That's what I call it. I mean, it's my deluxe edition without
Right.
having the anniversary edition of Ticket to Ride.
Right.
It's my
Again,
really
those are
nice version.
Those are the couple of things that make me not be interested in.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, to the number ones.
What?
And finally, number one.
All right, here we go. Go.
I'm gonna do my curveball.
11. Whoa.
That was going off?
Yeah, and
14. Dice and a 4 never count.
Do I have to re-roll that?
You do?
Okay.
I hope it's a 20. It's a 4.
That was a mistake. Mistakes were made.
Back up all that.
You got what you deserved.
Figures. I get what I want.
You got a 1.
All right.
Failing at everything.
All right, so we're going to have Z go
You got
first.
2 ones.
We're going to have Z go first,
Better than you.
then Sam, then me. Because I know yours. I think I know yours, and, well, we'll see. Go ahead.
All right, my number 1
Shocking.
is what now?
You tell us.
Oh, take it to the
Sir?
limit.
Take it to the lit. No, Hiroshima Hex.
Yeah.
As Sam said, of course it is. It's my number 2 game or 3 of all time. Really like it. I think it's an amazing game. I love the factions for it. I love the tactics involved in the game. It's got this great cadence of building up and building up and building up, and oh, that guy's pointing at me. Well, guess what? Now I'm pointing at him with a faster guy, so I'm going to kill him before he ever shoots. Oh, but now you threw a net on that guy, and he's netted, so he won't go off at all. And then at some point when this tension is finally built enough, someone goes, okay, fine, let's fight. And everything goes, boom, 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 boom. And then the battlefield's like half gone.
Yeah, I know. Almost
you
everyone's
go-
dead.
Yeah, let's do it again. So I really enjoy it. To me, it's like a puzzle meets a war game meets an abstract game, and the mix sounds ridiculous and works beautifully, I think. So my number 1, Hiroshima Hex.
This is the game that kind of put Portal on the map.
Yeah.
And they were still kind of a small company for a while.
Right.
They still are small, I guess, but they're much more well known now. Do you like playing this with more than 2?
No, not
Pretty
really.
much feel it's exclusively a 2-player
I
game.
do, yeah. 3 is okay, and 4 is really chaotic, but 2 is the way to go.
All right, what do you got?
My number 1 is what Tom
Mark.
just mentioned on number 2, and that is Ticket to Ride Markland. Kind of felt weird putting a Ticket to Ride game as my number 1, not because for this year, not because it's a bad game, but because it's a Ticket to Ride, so it's
Yeah, but it's distinctly different. I
But
thought.
exactly, that's what kind of got me over. That's what justified it for me. This is really different than many of the other Ticket to Ride games that are out there. The passenger aspect was what really made it come alive for me. Ticket to Ride is a good enough game, and I enjoy it. But after you can only play that game so many different times before you saying, yeah, well, I want to do something else rather than just lay down track. And this is the first one for me that actually allowed you to do that. You can not just lay down track, you can also move your passengers, and it gave you another opportunity to score points that way. And I really enjoyed it. On top of that, the artwork, I guess you could say, the pictures that are on the cards, how every single card in the game has a different kind of train thing
Wagon,
on
I guess.
it. Yeah, I don't know what you call them.
It's like wagons and
No, train cars.
Train cars.
cars,
You have
yeah,
a different
yeah.
kind of train car on them, but that was just a really interesting thing that they did. First of all, they chose an IP that they could do that with. because the whole Marklin IP is just.
Well, I felt guilty because I had never heard of Marklin until that game came out.
I used to love doing little trains, the model train sets when I was a kid. And I was never able to afford the higher end ones like the Marklin stuff, but I always looked at those things when we were in those kinds of stores.
Oh, I'm getting one.
Yeah.
When my last kid leaves the house, I'm taking one room and building the big train setup. I've always wanted to do that. I've been waiting.
Really?
I still got 20 years, but still.
You can do it with Legos.
No, I mean I want it to be built and stay there.
Yeah. Use the crackle.
That's not happening now. All right, guys, what's my number one?
I don't know about man. Your number one, my good sir.
It's part of a series of games, 2 of which are in Sam's top 20. I'm sure of it.
Wait, what?
It's part of a series of games.
Part of a series.
2 of which are in your top 20.
Oh, Battle Lore.
Well, it's not Battle Lore, actually. It's Command and Colors Ancients.
Okay, yeah.
Which is...
Wait, it's not Battle Lore.
Battle Lore didn't come out until 2006.
Yes, it did, because it's my number 11.
Oh, no,
First
that's right.
edition.
No, that's right. Battle Lore itself was replaced by Battle Lore 2 by a mile. I don't even... Battle Lore doesn't even exist
So what's
anymore.
your number one?
Commands and Colors Ancients.
Which came out the same year as
It
Battle
did.
Lore?
It came out from GMT Games.
Weird. Okay.
And it basically let you fight historical battles in ancient
With
times.
blocks.
With blocks. Which I thought I would hate. When I first heard they were going to do that, I was like, what? Blocks? But it actually looks pretty good.
I
the
still say
stickers
that.
on the blocks.
What? Blocks?
And you're
No.
complaining about turning taxis?
No.
The only thing more boring than the German Postal Service is
Ancient
wooden
battles
blocks.
with wooden blocks.
Wait, you're criticizing the blocks.
Yes.
Correct. I've never played this game. What else am I going to criticize?
Anyway, Command and Colors Ancients is very different than most of the other games in this genre because most of them involve shooting. Memoir 44, everyone can shoot at each other back and forth. The other one being Battle Lore. But Command and Colors Ancients, you come and you fight. And so it's all about having your units support each other because supporting each other gave extra dice. And leaders were a bigger deal in this game than any other. I really enjoyed it. I liked the whole sweeping your army through. I loved reading. Richard Borg does such a great job. When he has these scenarios, they read all the historical background of the battle. I love that. I love fighting. I love that there was elephants in the game. They weren't overpowered. They were big and cool, and there was only a few of them. But I just really enjoyed it. Yes, I would probably rather play Battle Lore 2 these days than it because, well,
Miniatures.
I like the miniatures and the fantasy and there's the lore system and all that.
Right.
But Command and Colors Ancients is probably the best strategy-wise, tactics-wise of the whole series, I would think. Even more so than Memoir, although I think I like Memoir better.
Oh, I can agree with you.
But Memoir's faster and quicker.
Yeah.
If you want to get more involved, I think I would stack Command and Colors Ancients up against any 2-player heavy war game type thing, ASL, all that. I think Command and Colors Ancients is one of the best war games ever designed. Period.
I'll stand back here and hold that. I'm not going to say that because some of those war
I'm just
games
over here playing with like my Lego pieces
and cards, yeah. Some of those war games do a very, very good job at simulating the actual.
I mean, you'll feel like you're in war. You'll be miserable.
Well, no.
Thirsty. You're worried about surviving.
Anyhow, what do you guys think are the best games of 2006? Let us know in the comments. It still seems weird this was 10 years ago.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
And we were in very different places, but I think the gaming industry was certainly in full swing. Kickstarter hadn't shown up yet, though, and yet still great games. Anyhow, until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
Zee Garcia, thank you, folks.
Sam Healey, see you on the flip side.